Hi guys, welcome back to A Window to the North. My name is Sara and I am here to share my love for travel and exploring the world with you. So today we're back to talking about digital nomadism, which I believe is a trend that is growing and growing, particularly since the pandemic where everyone had to work remotely anyways. And I feel that more and more people are, at least for a season in their life, curious about this lifestyle and have the urge and the wish to travel and explore the world a little more. If that is you and you do not know how to get started, there's a couple of videos on my channel about that. Here is one where I talk about how to actually, in the current financial situation, save money by becoming a digital nomad. Either, to save it because you wish to build a little nest egg, or maybe you would like to have the opportunity to start your own company. But today I want to talk about the hidden costs of being a digital nomad, because I feel that is something that is not often talked about. Everyone always shows their fantastic life in Thailand or Bali, working from the beach, but people very rarely talk about the hidden costs of being a digital nomad. So my goal for today is to let you know about those two so you can make an informed decision. One hidden cost of digital nomadism are visa costs. Now these differ and can be avoided to a certain extent if you decide to travel on a tourist visa. Here and linked down below, everything I mention is always also linked down below, is a video on which one you should pick, or helping you decide which one you should pick and distinguishing the two. If you decide to take a digital nomad visa, however, these usually cost money. So that is one cost that you need to keep in mind. The cost depends on the country that you choose to visit or to take the visa for. Number two, health insurance. Now, please don't skim on health insurance. I have so many videos where I talk about how important it is to take care of your health, take care of healthcare, health insurance, know where to get healthcare when you are abroad, particularly if you are a digital nomad or a long-term traveler, a short-term traveler, an expat. You usually will have to take care of health insurance yourself. Those don't come cheap. And here, just really make sure that you are covered and well informed and do your research. I will probably in the future, in the relatively distant future, provide a video on that too. But make sure that you, for example, are covered for all medical expenses, that you are covered when it comes to, for example, if you have to be flown home, that you can be flown out of wherever you are and that you get transport to the nearest hospital, even if that is a couple of hours away. So make sure you're covered with health insurance, which is an extra cost. Another cost that people might tend to forget is, of course, you need to get from one digital nomad destination to the next. So flight. I have actually for I think the past 2 decades now used Skyscanner, because Skyscanner gives you the chance to enter flexible dates and compare different airlines. So that is a good tool that I can warmly recommend. There's a few others. Again, I will probably make a video at some point that goes more in depth. Until then, I can link a few options down below that are really good options to find cheap flights, so that at least the cost from getting from one destination to another is reduced and you don't pay the highest fares. A rather indirect cost of digital nomadism might be the drop of productivity every time you change location. This is something that I mentioned in the video about whether you should pick a tourist or a digital nomad visa, because I feel that this is more frequently happening to people traveling on tourist visas, because every time you arrive at a new destination, you will first have to spend some extra time to get used to the place, to find your way around, where's the grocery store, which is the best co-working space for you, or which cafe do you like, just to get your bearings. So in these days, and maybe also to explore the country at the city that you are at, so in these days, of course, your productivity drops a bit, which means less productivity, you work less, you earn less. So these are kind of directly correlated. This is why I personally prefer slow travel and why I personally advocate digital nomad visas over tourist visas, if that is something that you can afford and if that is something that you wish to do. Like I said, I give more information on this in the which visa should you pick video. One big cost for digital nomads is SIM cards, I feel, or telephones. Now, I have at some point been the proud owner of SIM cards to several different countries, because my suggestion is whenever you arrive in a new country, you buy a local SIM card, because when I lived a rather nomadic lifestyle, you would still go and buy a different SIM card to whichever place you would go. The reason is to avoid the roaming charges that you would otherwise have to pay if you stick with your country's provider, so with your original provider. So one tip here would be to either still do that, meaning to buy a different SIM card wherever you go, just one of these pay-as-you-go SIM cards, so you can phone at local cost. Another option is, of course, to do the majority of your telephoning online via Skype or via Zoom or via WhatsApp, whichever service you choose. However, it still makes sense for you to have a local phone card or a local SIM card and phone number, just so people can reach you. Now, this is an option that I find again is more suitable to people that slowly travel, that stay in places on digital nomad visas, because they stay in a location for relatively long. If you, on the other hand, are somebody that wants to hop from location to location quickly, I would recommend a worldwide SIM card. The one that I recommend is DreamSIM. I will link them down below, who basically provide coverage all over the world and have prices that are quite comparable to the local prices. So this would mean that you would have one SIM card during your journey and therefore not be bothered with changing SIM cards whenever you change location. One hassle less on your list. Another cost that I feel people might not really account for when they start their digital nomad journey is the cost of where you are going to work. As a digital nomad, because of the nature of your business, you probably will need very, very good internet, and many of the locations of the typical nomad locations that have a big digital nomad community also have facilities that kind of cater to digital nomads. Now, this could mean either co-working spaces that offer high-speed internet, which are a great place to network and to, meet other digital nomads and, for example, also participate in activities. But these do cost some money every month, or if you do not work in a co-working space, you would at least typically need a cafe, a restaurant, a hostel, or somewhere where you could access proper Wi-Fi, which is, again, it is an expense, a daily expense that you will need in order to perform your business. Technological equipment. Now, again, because of the nature of your job, you will probably need some technological equipment that you will have to invest in, or maybe you already have it, but this basically is your bread and butter. So if you're starting on the digital nomad journey, I am a firm believer that you do not need the best of everything from the get-go. For example, when it comes to the YouTube videos I'm making here, I started on my phone and I'm still doing the majority of it on my phone. So it depends, of course, a bit also on, how you intend to make money. But for example, like I said, I film on my phone, I edit on my phone. I do a majority of things. I have a blog. I do a lot of things for my blog on my iPad. But generally, if you want to build a business as a digital nomad, it probably makes sense to invest in a laptop at some point, in depending on what you want to do, in a camera, and other equipment that you might need. So if we circle back to the idea of health insurance, there is another thing that actually I feel a lot of people do not necessarily take into account, and that is the cost of vaccines. Depending on where you want to go, particularly if you want to go somewhere warm and tropical, you might need vaccines before you go there. Another tip, please check before you travel somewhere what kind of vaccines are required or recommended. But if you want to go somewhere, you might need hepatitis vaccination that you might not have, or other kinds of vaccinations that would be required for a visit in that location, as well as, for example, depending on where you go, in some places in India or Africa, you might, depending on the season, take malaria pills, malaria prophylaxis that prevents you from getting malaria. And, these kind of medications are expensive, and I feel like, maybe if you're starting on this journey, you do not account for them, and the price of those might come as a shock to you. Last but not least, a big cost for digital nomads are exchange rates and bank fees. Whatever you do when you move around, do not transfer money or take money out with your credit card from your home country, because you are probably going to be hit with some pretty bad fees. When I lived in the US as a student, I had a credit card to a German bank account, and I did take money out of the bank account with that card occasionally, and I think with each time that I picked out money, I paid a $20 fee, which, is a lot of money generally, but for a student it was kind of crippling. And this applies also to getting paid. If you offer your services around the world and then want to, have access to that money around the world as well, you might have the problem that you are being paid in different currencies and then have to exchange these currencies for whatever currency you are using at that point in time, and you will lose a lot of money in banking fees. Now, quite a few people use PayPal for this, but PayPal has quite steep fees, and whatever you do, stay away from Western Union and places like that. Those have even higher fees. My recommendation would be to use a multi-currency account. That is a bank account that can hold different kind of currencies, so that you can use these kind of currencies or pay in these kind of currencies without actually paying an exchange fee, because you can hold different kinds. So meaning that you in one bank account could, for example, hold dollars, euros, yen, and whatever else, and then pay the amount that you have in that currency with your bank card, but it also has a lot lower conversion fees than most other bank services. So that would mean you would have one card, one bank account that you could use in every country that you are, that you could be receiving every currency in, and that you could pay in every currency. The one that I recommend here is Wise. I will link them down below. It's the multi-currency account from Wise, where again, with one card you can hold multiple currencies, pay in multiple currencies, avoid bank fees and avoid exchange fees. These were my hidden costs that you should pay attention to when you are in the process of becoming a digital nomad, which you should account for. This video was of value for you. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you here next time. Bye bye.